If you're running Google Ads, there's a good chance your account isn't performing as efficiently as it could be. Most campaigns suffer from the same problems: wasted budget, poor structure, and missed optimization opportunities that limit results and ROI. In this video, I'll show you the exact system I use to manage and optimize Google Ads campaigns so you can maximize your ROI, make the most of your ad budget, and get better leads consistently. Let's get into it. So here we are in the Google Ads dashboard, but before anything else, let's go over the landing page. Honestly, if your landing page is bad, then none of the optimizations you do in Google Ads are going to really help your performance. I see people constantly trying to lower their cost per lead and optimize their campaigns while sending their traffic to pages that weren't designed to convert traffic in the first place. Let's look at some examples. So I went ahead and did a search for plumbers in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is my local area, and I pulled up a few different landing pages to kind of give you an idea of what's good and what's bad. So here's one landing page that I pulled up. So this is for Michael and Son. And this is essentially just their main website. So for this, I would say this is not a good landing page. There's just a bunch of site links. It's a little bit overwhelming in terms of all the different information, all the services provided. There is a call button, some clear call to actions, but it's just a little bit too much for a landing page. For an ideal landing page format, we want it to be very simple, very straightforward, not a ton of site links, not a ton of distractions, and just really put all the focus on the main call to action, which is either them booking or just calling directly. Let's look at another example. So here's another example of a landing page I pulled up from a plumber's Google Ads campaign in my local area. So this is just going straight to their main website. And then once again, this is just not a good landing page, in my opinion, to use for Google Ads. It's a bit generic because it's just their main website. They got a bunch of different site links. They have a contact us button, which is good, schedule online, but I'm not seeing like a clear phone call button. The phone call button's just all the way here on the top right, so it's kind of like hidden. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend just sending traffic to your main website, especially if it has like a layout like this. If you are sending traffic to your main website, I would just make sure to really have your call button front and center, really kind of limit the amount of distractions and whatnot. So yeah, we looked at a few not so good landing pages or landing pages that I wouldn't really recommend, which is most of the time just people sending them to the main website. But now let's actually look at some good landing pages. So now I pulled up a few other landing pages from plumbers in my local area, ones that are actually using landing pages for their campaigns. And here's like a perfect example of like a really good custom high converting landing page for the business. So yeah, this isn't their main website. This is a landing page specifically for their Google Ads campaign. And you'll see it's just very simple, very straightforward, very clean. They're offering their service and they're offering the next step, which is either they can call or fill out the form. And then this probably lead to the form or just lead to a booking software as well. But all the call to actions are just very direct and very easy to kind of get to and navigate to. And you'll see here, they got the reviews right here at the top, which is perfect. They have the services information, just very easy to see. And then they got the lead form, and it's really not that long. They have no site links, no distractions. And yeah, it's just very simple, very clean, and very direct, which is perfect for a landing page. So yeah, this is, in my opinion, this is like an ideal landing page format. For a landing page, it doesn't necessarily have to look exactly like this. Some people like to put the lead form right here. I'll show you. I'll show you another example right now. So here's another good landing page. So this, like I said before, we like to have the call to actions be very direct, very front and center. There are site links on this one, but notice how they're just very limited and they just don't take up a lot of space and they're not overwhelming. So it really just makes it very simple for someone to just land on this page and then just call to actually do the next step. So yeah, this is another really good landing page. So if you see here, this is their actual website. So yeah, clearly they're using a landing page for their Google Ads campaign, and then they just have their main website, as you can see here. But yeah, like this is another really good example of like a high converting landing page, just very direct, very straightforward when it comes to their call to action and their next step. Makes the call button really apparent front and center. Then they got a little lead form right here, and then the reviews at the top, which is, like I said before, really important. So here's like another good example for a landing page. Like I said before, not a ton of site links or distractions. They really just have their main call to actions front and center. For this one, they actually have the lead form at the top, which a lot of people like to do. It just depends if you want to prioritize your lead form or your phone call. If you want to prioritize phone calls, I'd recommend doing something like this right here, having the call button front and center, or maybe even something like this up here. But yeah, for this one, they obviously wanted to prioritize the phone calls or the lead forms. So they have the lead form front and center at the top. So yeah, like whatever your call to actions are, just bring them all the way to the top. If you want to do a lead form, have it kind of positioned like this up here. and then make sure you have your call button up here. So yeah, this is like another pretty good example of a landing page for this specific company. Obviously, this is not their main website. This is like the landing page that they're using just for their Google Ads campaign to really make the most of their ad budget and generate as many conversions as possible. So yeah, and to kind of give you like a little checklist on what makes a landing page good, I would give it a very simple and direct format, very easy to comprehend. I would make sure your call to actions, like your phone calls, or your lead forms, your book appointment buttons, they're all the way at the top and they're very easy to find and navigate to. I would also make sure that your reviews are close to the top as well, so people can see your Google business score and whatnot. And I would also just limit the site links and a lot of the distractions that could lead people to either different pages entirely or just direct people away from the main call to action. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the landing page side of things. If you really get this part of your Google Ads campaign right, you can see a big increase in conversion rate and just generate much better results as a whole. So yeah, now we can actually move on to optimizations in the Google Ads platform. So the first optimization we're going to do is actually going to be with our keywords. So let's go over to keywords here on the left. Okay, the first thing I like to look at when doing optimizations is the cost per conversions for all of our different keywords. So yeah, I went ahead and just did the little drop down for cost per conversion. To do that, you just click it, and it'll give you a little drop down where it's going to go highest to lowest. And the important thing when doing a Google Ads campaign is to filter out our high cost per conversion keywords. So that way we can really kind of prioritize the ones with lower cost per conversion. So at the moment, pain relief chiropractor for this campaign has a pretty high cost per conversion. And we really want to get our cost per conversion as low as possible. So I might as well just go ahead and pause that at the moment. So that way we can kind of bring down our cost per conversion and focus on these down here where you'll see like chiropractic services, cost per conversion of like $20. So yeah, the main goal is to really just bring down our cost per conversion so we can really just maximize our ROI. And to do that, filtering out your high cost per conversion keywords is really important for that. So if you go into your campaign's keywords, you might see keywords with cost per conversions of like maybe like hundreds of dollars. And then you'll also see keywords with cost per conversions of like, let's say like $20, $30. So yeah, we want to prioritize those keywords with the much smaller cost per conversions because obviously we're just getting more bang for our buck. And then the next optimization I would do in here is I would do the cost drop down. So here it's also really important to filter out keywords that have spent significant amounts of ad budget without converting at all. So if we actually look at family chiropractor, this keyword has spent $161 and it hasn't generated a single conversion. So yeah, this is a keyword I would go ahead and pause. You know, similar to this one, chiropractic clinic spent $136 without generating a single conversion. I would go ahead and pause that one as well. So yeah, like I said, we want to pause keywords that have spent a ton of our ad budget without converting because obviously we want to prioritize the keywords that are getting us good results and are generating us conversions. So yeah, make sure to go into your keywords, filtering out keywords that have spent significant amounts of ad budget and have not been generating any results. For every industry, it's a little bit different. Obviously, if it's like a very high ticket industry, then spending $136 without generating a conversion can be like totally fine. It just kind of depends like what your goals are, what your industry is, what the industry averages are. In this case, for like a local service business, like a chiropractor, this is a bit too much to spend for like no conversions. So yeah, went ahead and paused the not only the high cost per conversion keywords, but also the keywords that have spent significant amounts of ad budget without converting at all. Okay, now on to the next optimization. So for the next optimization, we're going to go over here to insights and reports, and we're going to go to our search terms. So the search term report is essentially a bunch of search terms that we've been generating traffic as well as conversions from. But they're not actual keywords that we're targeting from the campaign. If we're doing something like phrase and broad match for our campaign, then yeah, you're going to get a bunch of these search terms, a bunch of terms that haven't actually been added as actual keywords. So the search term is great because it not only gives us new ideas for converting search terms that we can add to the campaign as actual keywords, as new keywords, but it also gives us ideas for negatives because we can actually see which search terms we're showing up for, which search terms we're spending a bunch of money and ad budget on. So that way we can actually make sure that we no longer show up for these search terms that are irrelevant or the ones that we just don't want to waste ad spend on. So in this case, I did the conversion dropdown because I'm actually going to look at which of the search terms we've been generating actual conversions from. So if you look here, a lot of these search terms, a lot of these converting search terms, because they've generated us conversions, are actually for competitors in the area. We don't want to show up for these just because a lot of the times people can be calling looking for someone else. And that's just going to be wasting our ad spend, wasting the receptionist's time. So yeah, we don't want to show up for these keywords, and we're going to go ahead and add these as negative keywords. So I'm going to go ahead and mark each one, all the different competitors that we no longer want to show up for. So that way we can make sure all of our traffic is as relevant as we want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and mark all of those. And then to add them as negative keywords, you're just going to go ahead and press this button right here, add as a negative keyword. Yep. And then they're going to be automatically matched to exact match, which is good. And then you're going to press save. And then boom, now we're no longer showing up for these specific search terms. So that way we can really just stay away from them permanently and just not waste any ad spend on these whatsoever. And now on the other side of things, we can actually look for relevant converting search terms and add those to the campaign as actual keywords. So you see right here, you just got the search term chiropractors, and this actually generated us one conversion for $17, which is really good. Now this is a keyword I'm going to want to add as a actual keyword that we're targeting for this campaign. So let's go ahead and add it as keyword, add as keyword. And then I'm going to make sure it's exact match because obviously we want that exact keyword because that's what generated us the conversion. So now it's exact match, and now we're going to do save. And then boom, now we added this new converting search term, which generated us a conversion for really cheap as an actual keyword in our account. So yeah, I highly recommend just going through your search term report. If you filter it by conversions, you can see which specific keywords or search terms are generating you the conversions. And then I would prioritize those in terms of optimizations because you definitely don't want to waste a ton of ad spend on conversions that just aren't relevant. And then also too, if you do the clicks drop down, I also recommend going through your clicks and then making sure that, you're going through these and just really kind of getting rid of any irrelevant searches that you're consistently showing up for. So yeah, I would recommend going through your search term report as often as possible. I like to go through it like once a week so I can let a lot of the data kind of pool up and pool together. And then I will go through and then just first filter it by conversions, get rid of any irrelevant keywords or search terms, and then add any new converting search terms as actual keywords. And then I'll do the drop down for clicks, and then really just get rid of any irrelevant search terms that we're showing up for and add those as negatives. So yeah, that's the search term report. Okay, now we're going to move on to the ads. So for the ads, what I like to do is I like to actually create 3 different ads with a bunch of different headlines and a bunch of different descriptions. And then as more data comes in, we're going to be essentially split testing them and seeing which ones perform the best. I like to do at least like 2 or 3 ads in total. And then once you have enough data, then I would actually pause the ads that are performing the worst with either the smallest conversion rate or the highest cost per conversion. And then I would go ahead and once again, copy and paste the highest performing ad, 1 or 2 times, and then make some small adjustments again. So that way you're constantly evolving your highest performing ad copy. This is really good for improving your overall click-through rate for your campaign and just lowering your cost per clicks. So yeah, I highly recommend creating 2 to 3 ads in total. Keep doing different headlines, different descriptions. Once you have enough data, then pause the underperforming ads and then, duplicate the highest performing one, but then make even more tweaks and adjustments. And then, yeah, just essentially just keep evolving your ad copy. So that way, you're just really kind of getting your best click-through rate possible and, consistently improving upon it. Okay, so that was the ads. So now we're going to go to bid adjustments. So we're going to go to when and where ads showed. And if you see here, we can see the exact devices that our campaign is running on. You'll see mobile phones, computers, and tablets. And if you look to the right, we can actually see the performance for each one. So right now it looks like mobile phones has pretty much generated all of our conversions. So in this case, I might just leave it alone at the moment. But it looks like computers hasn't generated us a single conversion, but at the same time, we've only spent 113. So in this case, I would actually probably leave this alone. However, if your cost per conversion is much better on one platform than the other, then I recommend just doing a slight increase for that platform by like 5%. And then I would even maybe do a slight decrease for that underperforming platform for maybe like another 5%. So yeah, essentially when it comes to doing your device bid adjustments, we want to slightly prioritize the platform that's giving us the best results overall. So if mobile phones is getting you conversions for much cheaper than computers, then I would do a slight bid adjustment by like maybe +5 or +10%. And then I would maybe decrease computers by 5 to 10% as well. I like to do it very small and very incrementally. There's going to be a case where over time you just realize that maybe computers or tablets or whatever is just really underperforming. And then you might just go ahead and just do decrease 100% and just fully turn off that platform. So yeah, this is going to be something to where you're just going to have to look at your data, see what platform is getting you the best results, and do small incremental bid adjustments for that platform to prioritize it. So another cool optimization you could do with bid adjustments is if you go to locations down here, you can actually see which locations you're targeting are generating you the best results overall. So you can really only check this out if you're targeting multiple locations or if you're doing like a list of zip codes. Uh, the best way to do it is if you have like a list of zip codes that you're targeting. So that way you can see individually which zip codes are generating you the best results. But you can also do these optimizations if you're just targeting like multiple different areas like this. You can't do it if you're doing like a mile radius. But yeah, you can do it if you're just have like separate location targeting. But in this case, for example, it seems like Gilbert, Arizona has the lowest cost per conversion for us, and then the highest cost per or the highest conversion rate overall. So we just did a slight bid adjustment to increase our ads in Gilbert, Arizona. So that way we're slightly prioritizing this location and slightly prioritizing it with our ad spend so we can really kind of show up there more. So yeah, for these bid adjustments for both locations and then for the devices, I definitely recommend just letting your data actually kind of collect and pool up before actually doing some strong changes. Like if your campaign's just starting out, maybe give it a month to kind of see like what the trends are, what the actual data tells you. Because if you just give it 1 week, you might see something to where one of the cost per conversions is just much different towards what it'll be like at the end of the month. So definitely just kind of give it like a month before you do any strong bid adjustments. And then I like to always start or do like incremental bid adjustments. But then over time, as the data becomes more clear, then I do stronger bid adjustments to where I'll even turn off certain devices or turn off certain locations. So for the next optimization, this is actually going to be very simple, but I definitely wanted to include this in the video because I think it is overlooked. And that's the actual budget allocation towards your campaigns. So right now I'm testing 2 different campaigns. So we got a PMAX campaign and a search campaign. But if you look over here to the right, you'll see that the PMAX's cost per conversion is much lower than our search campaign. So PMAX seems to be performing much better overall. And then because this campaign is performing much better than this, I would actually go ahead and put some of this budget into this campaign because obviously we want most of our budget going to the campaign that's just going to get us the best ROI possible. So a lot of people, in my experience, like when setting up Google Ads campaigns, they kind of set their ad budgets for their campaigns, and then they're just kind of frozen there. So I always recommend, looking at your budgets, looking at your campaigns, looking at your campaign's results, and putting more of your budget towards whatever campaign is bringing you the strongest ROI. Yeah, I know that sounds like extremely simple, but I definitely think it is something that a lot of people overlook is actually allocating your budget, towards the campaigns or towards the ads, towards the ad groups, towards the keywords that are performing the best overall. So those are some of the main optimizations I use when managing Google Ads campaigns, especially for local service-based businesses. The biggest mistake I see people make is just launching a campaign and never touching again. And then also just sending the traffic to their main website as opposed to like an actual custom high converting landing page. Google Ads definitely isn't something that you can just set and forget. So I really recommend just consistently looking at your data and doing some of these optimizations. The accounts that perform the best in my experience are the ones that are, consistently being reviewed, optimized, and improved upon. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more Google Ads content. And if you're a local business owner looking for help managing your campaigns, feel free to reach out using the link below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.